What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. Welcome back to another video. Now, in this one, I want to talk about XRP, and I want to kind of break it down a little bit more, give you a little bit more of an in-depth, maybe technical analysis and where I stand with it, as well as looking at my overall price prediction and where I believe it to go, especially when we look at the last half of 2025. Right, we're starting to approach, June, July, right? We're ending the first half of 2025 and we want to see how things have gone for what we kind of expected to see, right? So if you guys are interested in that content, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, stick around to hear all about it. Also, make sure you check out some of my links down below. I have a link for BTCC, which is honestly a very, very good platform that I've been able to utilize for 9 months now, and it's just been phenomenal, right? I've been able to make money on orders of BTC, orders of XRP, CRO, Jasmine Coin, many different things where I've made hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars at this point in leverage trading, and that's just because I've been able to do it with such precision and trying to find the best place for me and not over trading or trying to be too confident and trading at a 500x leverage every single time, right? I'm trading at 2x leverages, 3x leverages, 10x leverages, and more recently a 50x leverage. But I've been able to profit from them in thousands of dollars just because I've been able to build the right strategy and find a way to hopefully make my money work for me. That's what my goal is with everything that I own. So anyways, check out my link down below. If you use my link, you will get a 10% deposit bonus as well as extra bonuses up to $10,055. You can get 40% lower trading fees, and you can trade hundreds of cryptocurrencies at, if you want to, a 500x leverage. I'm not saying that you need to. I would say that you start out with a 2x leverage maybe, but feel free to check it out. Link is in the description. Now, I talked about in my recent video where Bitcoin was and what Bitcoin was doing. Bitcoin is currently at a $108,000 mark. It's up a massive amount over time, but in the last day it's slightly down. So we're seeing a little bit of kind of, I would say, consolidation in the overall market, right? It's trying to consolidate up at these levels, but it's also like kind of deciding on whether we're going to see that major increase or major decrease. But this video, I wanted to talk about XRP because XRP is, has experienced a major increase over the last year, that we've been looking at it, 6 months, honestly, and, moving above Solana, moving above, BNB, and even moving above Tether at times. It looks really, really good, right? It's at $2.30, which if we go back, we would have thought that could, I wouldn't say we would have thought, but there's a lot of people that thought that could have never happened, right? Seeing $100 billion market cap, $100 billion plus market cap, right? A lot of people thought that wouldn't happen, and now they have to pivot and say, oh, well, 200 billion isn't going to happen. Well, when that happens, oh, now 300 billion isn't going to happen. So you can't just listen to what others would have to say about this, about your position that you believe in, that you've researched. If you've done the research, don't let other people talk you out of it, right? But we're sitting at a $135 billion market cap with 2.2 or $2.02 billion worth of volume, almost 59% of the supply that is out there, seeing that supply continually increase. It's good to see all of it get released because once we reach a max level, there's no more dilution that could happen. Just a standard deflationary mechanism, which is great. Not as impactful as what we all would want, but it still has an impact nonetheless. But let's get into what this video is about, right? Let's talk about XRP. Let's go into a technical analysis a little bit, and let's also go through where a price prediction could be. So if we go over to BTCC, which they do use TradeView as their charting, so you can get an easy breakdown of everything. We're in a little bit of an interesting spot, right? We saw XRP absolutely skyrocket, off of many different forms of news, right? Whether you're talking about being implemented in any way within the government, seeing the case, get dropped, seeing obviously a changeover from Gary Gensler and just seeing a major impact in what Ripple can do for the US as well as for the world. So seeing all that, seeing all those partnerships, seeing the different things that are happening, that's kind of the major impact of where we see XRP at its price now. Now, when it did increase, it went all the way up to a $3.30 level, $3.40 level, which we want to break eventually, but it did end up retracing a little bit, pulling very far away from the 200 or 200 moving average, and that makes sense, right? It's going to get back to reality. I always use the 200 moving average as a reality, and I try and make it as simple as possible. If you overcomplicate things with too many things, because right now you can see a head and shoulder pattern, right? Head and shoulders pattern does require or does tell you that you're going to have a bearish movement, as well as looking at where the 200 EMA is. You can say that from all the way here and say it's got to come back to earth at some point, whether it comes back aggressively, and it looks like it did pretty much, or it takes its time and kind of stair steps its way down, creating lower highs and lower lows, which it did kind of both of those things. Now it finally reached its level from a what was the date, January 17th or so, all the way to where we are in April, or where we were in April, down to this 200 moving average mark. Now, one thing we did see, obviously with that much movement, we did see a golden cross scenario where things absolutely skyrocketed. But again, everything has to come back to earth and settle a little bit. People tend to go, oh, I made how much money from this? Let me go ahead and sell my XRP. And they sold a decent amount of XRP, and it's fine, right? And leverage trading, that happens within there as well. But where we stand right now, we're in a point to where it looks like we're bouncing off the 200 EMA multiple times, right? We bounced off the 200 EMA. We did break through it a little bit, but not with the overall bodies of the candlestick. It was more of the wicks of the candlestick. So it did bounce off this level before increasing a little bit and bouncing off, the 200 moving average again. Now, right now, we're at a spot to where we could see a golden cross scenario again, could see more consolidation, but it looks like we could see a bounce and that we're going to retest higher levels. Now, the retest level for this would be around the $3 level. This would be the first major retest, getting back to that $3 level and breaking through it, because it did resist from that pretty hard and no competition after that to retest that level. We did break through this level, which is good, right? The $2.50 level, getting up to $2.60. So now we kind of just have to really break through like this level here, which is $2.70, I believe it got to, and then this level here, right? So there's multiple levels to break through, and once we see it, kind of punch its ticket, I would imagine we're going to see little retracements that happen, right? Little stair steps, just like we saw here. The stair stepping on the way up from the 170, 160 mark back up to the 220 mark, but then decreasing back down to $2, increasing up to $2.30, decreasing back down to $2.10, increasing all the way up to $2.70. So you're going to see that stair stepping, and just because you see it hit that level, break through that level, doesn't mean that it's going to retrace all the way. It may be continuing to create stair steps on the way up. So I know that these are going to retest these levels. Now, the only issue that I have with it right now is that everything seems to still be following Bitcoin. And with everything that's still following Bitcoin, we run into a little bit of an issue. And the reason why is because Bitcoin is at an interesting level as well, to where it looks like it's going to retrace, right? Being so far away from the 200 moving average as well as the 50 moving average, it looks like it's going to retrace hard, which I did talk about in my other video. I said there's a chance we could see it up to 150,000 with this golden cross scenario, because every time we see it, it breaks way above it. But it's just so far away from the 200 EMA and 200 moving average that it makes me feel or believe that things are going to decrease. And if we look at it at a deeper view, right? If we go back to CoinMarketCap and we go to Bitcoin and we look at all history, we can see that right now it looks like it's creating its second top, right? It created a top here. This was back in the day in 2021, created a top here, then created a higher top, created a top here, then created a higher top. And it looks like we may be seeing that same thing to actually retrace pretty heavily from that level. However, we haven't really seen the major impact of altcoin season yet, which usually, or by this time, we saw that major impact. So maybe this is the first top, right? And that 150,000 or something, even further is the second top, right? 100, maybe it's 125,000 or 150,000 is that peak point there. And if it is, then we should see everything move with altcoins as it does, retrace. But the point is that we may still, no matter what, see that retracement, right? If this is creating that first top, that means that you're going to see the retracement that's going to be pretty hefty, and then you're going to see it pick back up to that overall second peak that it makes. And during that second peak, that's where you see altcoins have more of an impact than even Bitcoin has had, right? So that's something that I'm interested in seeing, and that's why I'm saying that XRP could be majorly retested here, but are we going to see a pullback with Bitcoin pulling back? That's really the question. So my overall price prediction, if I was to say what's going to happen, right, I'm taking precautions in what I have. I haven't taken out any XRP investment. I probably am going to put through a long investment for XRP at maybe a 10x leverage or so, with like $50 or whatever, just to see how it breaks out. If it does break out, and if it goes against me, it goes against me. Because I have something here for Bitcoin that's honestly on the opposite side. And if it does retrace, or when it does retrace, we're going to see a major impact here and be able to profit quite a bit from that. So when I talk about my price prediction, I'm looking for a level of $4 very soon. I'm looking to see that break a lot of these points very quickly, and see the major impact as 2025 continues to happen. The issue that we're dealing with is the fact that, one, we haven't seen altcoin season. Two, we honestly haven't seen the overall major impact to the cryptocurrency market, from government, from various things that are happening in the world today. Yes, Bitcoin has run a heck of a lot, and you couldn't be happier with Bitcoin's success. But usually that translates into a trickle-down effect, and we haven't seen that yet. So I can't say, oh, things are going to absolutely fall when we haven't seen the impact to everything else yet. There's always a chance we could see a fall for a month or two, and then see the impact by the end of the year. So my overall price prediction, again, I keep saying it, $4 I want to see very soon, $5 I want to see by the 2-month span. So let's say you have June, July, I want to see by August to actually hit that level of $5, and then break above that as the year continues to move on, right? And get to a level of $7 and $8 and $10. But no, at $5 you might see a little bit of a retracement before it decides to pick up again. So keep an eye on all these levels. Keep an eye on where it is right now. Again, I'm going to put through a trade. I might as well do that right now. I feel like it's at a comfortable level to where we can see that bounce, because I don't really expect to see the breakthrough of the 200 moving average. So if we decide to do a 10x leverage, let's change this. Let's do this live while we're on here. 10x leverage for XRP, and just move the slider a little bit. Move this slider to say that I'm putting up about $50. I'm putting up $50 for that long at a 10x leverage. It's going to give me about $530 worth of contract value. It doesn't mean that I'm putting up $530. I'm putting up $50, $53, and they're putting a zero behind it at a 10x leverage. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and put out a long at $50. And I'm also going to set a stop loss, because I always do that. Since it is a 10x leverage, I believe it will be 10%. That's what I'm willing to lose. And I'll leave the profit open-ended. So that's what I set. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more of these videos. Also, make sure you check out some of the links down below. It does help out the channel. Let me know where you think that XRP is going, where you believe it's going to grow to, or if you believe we're going to see a little bit of a setback, especially with Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs. But if you could, hit the like button, check out the link for BTCC, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.